Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live, thanks for that. If you're watching us later, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast, so we appreciate you checking them out there. We have audio and video versions available. Your traffic this morning looking to be pretty light. Not a whole lot going on. Schools are, of course, out. We'll talk about that in a minute. There is an accident on I-12 westbound at O'Neill. It's causing some light delays, not real bad. Looks like a lot of people not going to work today, kind of waiting to see what happens. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that happened yesterday that would be Sunday. They might change how things pan out over the next 2 days. It's currently 58 degrees, beautiful morning. 81 degrees is your high, so it's going to get warm. Going to go up about another 23, 24 degrees. 64 degrees is your low. Of course, we're talking about the coronavirus today. If you have any questions about it, you can call 211. That's just 211. That's like 411 or 811. It's just a telephone number you can call, you can ask questions, that sort of thing. Currently, cases have increased over 100 in Louisiana, looking at 2 deaths so far, both in the Orleans Parish area. They're kind of tracking this thing back to having entered Louisiana through Mardi Gras. Nothing's set in stone just yet, but they tracked a lot of people who were at Mardi Gras, traveled home into other states, and then, everybody seems to say, well, I was at Mardi Gras 3 or 4 weeks ago. Oh, okay. So talking about that, before yesterday, we were looking at April 14th, Monday, as a return to school for kids. Courthouse was still open. A lot of people still planning to do court. Excuse me. Legislative session still going, that sort of thing. Folks thinking about practicing maybe in small groups in terms of prep sports and that sort of deal. Of course, college sports and the NFL were basically canceled. Now you're looking at something a little different. Yesterday, the CDC released a recommendation that we drop that limit from 250 people to 50 people. And instead of 4 weeks, we're looking at 8 weeks. A lot of that response seems to be because not necessarily some people weren't taking this seriously, more so because this thing may have been here longer than what was previously expected. When I say this thing, I mean the coronavirus. It looks like it may have been in America a little bit longer than had been previously anticipated. And so now they're saying, okay, we're kind of in the midst of it. We need to take a step back, maybe do things a little more harshly. Of course, that's going to affect some of those sports, court, city operations, that sort of thing. Of course, but cities and parishes and government say that you're still going to get your utilities. So it's not quite like a hurricane or a flood. This is a little different. So we're going to be operating on a different kind of assumptions here. Now, a couple of retailers and restaurants have kind of taken the first move here. In other states, you're looking at closures or condensed time frames, that sort of thing. Chick-fil-A announced yesterday you're only going to be able to do drive-through with Chick-fil-A. There will be no dine-in. Of course, Walmart has adjusted their times to give themselves about 8 to 10 hours a day to restock shelves. They're saying that they're still going to be able to get that toilet paper you're after and that sort of thing. It doesn't come from very far away, actually. According to one of the Sockers that I asked just Saturday, it comes from across the river in Port Allen, right outside Port Allen. So we'll see if he's correct, and we'll see if they continue to stock those shelves with toilet paper every day. But the deal is that from about 10 p.m. Or midnight, depending, until 6 a.m., you're looking at closures as they try to sanitize the inside of the store as well as restock the shelves. So please keep that in mind. If you're shopping at Walmart, not going to be able to go during those late night hours. Of course, the governor is going to have a press conference this morning, going to be looking for maybe as late as noon. He hasn't announced an official time just yet, but going to be looking to see what his recommendation is for Louisianians considering this new 50 person total as well as this 8-week total. Of course, that if the governor issues the recommendation that we follow that and local government and schools take note, now you're looking at some complications. Now you're obviously things have already gotten complicated. But now you're looking at 8 weeks is you're getting into a much longer time frame. I would imagine with a 50 people cap, There will be some changes, say, at the courthouse with general government, that sort of thing, because now you're getting into a public meeting issue because you might have more than 50 people. So it's going to be interesting to see how the governor follows these rules that have been put out by the CDC. He may wait to see if the 250 and over works, and if it does work, then he won't have to drop that threshold. Of course, there are states, some of you may have been seeing what's going on in Ohio, that are in New York, California, that are experiencing this at a much higher rate than we are. However, the United States, of course, with cases increasing, almost at the same track as Italy, with everything starting to come to a screeching halt, may be able to stop that before it gets as bad as Italy. We started about 2 weeks after them, but the increase in caseloads is roughly the same as it was in Italy. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out with everybody sort of staying inside, especially at least for the next 2 weeks. So a couple of things about this. What is it? Yes, this version of the coronavirus is novel. It causes COVID-19, which is the disease that it caused. Yes, for younger folks, it is in fact, excuse me, for younger folks, it is in fact not as bad as it is for older folks. Excuse me. But of course, the older you get, the worse it can get. So it does have both flu and pneumonia type symptoms. For younger folks, for many of them, it's just sort of uncomfortable for about a week or so. For some folks, even in their mid ages, it's I had a sore throat and a fever. It wasn't that bad, but it can kill, especially in older folks, especially for people who are immunocompromised. So, and what that means is they might have an underlying condition. They might be going through chemotherapy for cancer. They may have underlying condition covers a lot of things. That could be anything from asthma to an immune disease like, here I am drawing a blank, like lupus or multiple sclerosis or rheumatoid arthritis. All of those compromise your immune system, and they all give this thing kind of a gateway to get in and do some damage. Of course, it's important to remember that even if it doesn't affect you that badly, the pneumonia portion can absolutely damage your lungs permanently. So it's important to remember that. Important to remember that the faster this thing spreads, it's not necessarily in the beginning about, whether it's bad or not. It's about two other things. One, you never know, even if you are young, how close some people who might be immunocompromised or who might be elderly are to you, like within how many circles, 1, 2, so it's important to remember that it's not just you dealing with this thing. The second thing is trying to keep hospitals from being overwhelmed. That's part of the problem in Italy. It's not necessarily that they can't handle this over a long period of time. It's more about the fact that they can't handle it all at once. You have a lot of people swarming intensive care units, looking for ventilators because of the pneumonia portion and that sort of thing. They're trying to, it's the term flatten the curve that I'm sure you've seen a lot on social media over the weekend, or really since this thing has started, trying to spread those cases out over a large period of time so that these hospitals don't get overwhelmed, so that people can get the appropriate treatment, so that they're going to be okay. So it's important to remember that you're not alone in this. Yes, I'm in a similar boat as a lot of people. I got 2 kids who are now at home, hopefully not for 8 weeks, but we're going to find out probably today. My fiance has lupus. My mother-in-law is going through chemotherapy at the moment. So I've got 2 immunocompromised people in my home, as well as 2 kids. So there's a lot of balance to do there, but you got to remember you have to be responsible, because there were people I was talking to who were saying this isn't that big of a deal, having no idea that was my home life. And, that within one circle, there were people that could be devastatingly affected by this. So please remember that this is about flattening that curve, trying to make sure that people can get appropriate health care when they need it, if they get it, without overwhelming our local hospitals. That is, of course, what happened in Wuhan, China. It's what happened in Italy. and people died because of it. So we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen here in America. Now, I've talked a lot about this. Of course, there's going to be, over the next couple of days, we hope you stay with us tomorrow for the morning show. And of course, this afternoon, as we get the information online, we're going to release it as quickly as possible to let you know this is what's going on with court. This is what's going on with sports. This is what's going on with the schools. Trying to get that information going. Schools may change their position today. Tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., that's Tuesday, is the big explanation of this is what we're going to do in terms of home instruction over the next month. Of course, that may change to 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on what the governor says today. And of course, we'll get that to you as well. So please remember, this is a novel virus. We're all kind of susceptible to it, everybody in their own sort of little way. And, you know, try to stay safe. Social distancing is a big deal. Wash your hands as often as possible. Social distancing does not mean that you don't have to see other people. It just means that you need to see a few people at a time, and then you need to go wash your hands and clean up and sanitize. Also, remember, if you've got kids and you're letting them go outside, please remember that you just don't know what other people are doing in their household. You know, they may go to work and come back and bring it. It's best if your kids are going to play with other friends that it be a small group, that it's outside, and that when they come home, they come in immediately, wash their hands, and if they're coming in permanently, they need to go take a shower after washing their hands. So please remember, there's a lot of precautionary measures to be taken here. Again, Chick-fil-A is drive-through only, expecting some other restaurants to make the same move. Walmart has adjusted their hours for local folks who are going to be looking for them to get stuff as we move through all this. And of course, please remember, there's going to be big decisions coming from the governor's office today and the courthouse and the schools and that sort of thing over the next couple of days. We'll probably have a full idea of what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks by Wednesday or tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully, that'd be Tuesday afternoon. One last time with your traffic. Oh, there are some sports scores online, www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports, as Rob DeArmond sort of catches up as we've been dealing with a lot of this coronavirus stuff. And please remember, you can check those out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. One last time with your traffic. Remember, there is an accident at O'Neill. Traffic is still very light. There's no school for the next couple of weeks, and folks sort of mosey on to work. It's currently 58 degrees. 81 degrees is your high. 64 degrees your overnight low. Please remember to be smart about the coronavirus. No reason to get a bunch of people very sick. Trying to manage this as we all move through it together. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are on once a week in print on Thursdays. We are also online, as mentioned. We have an app to go with that. Please remember, we also upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast, as well as our YouTube channel. Hope you have a great day. Please keep an eye on our Facebook or our website, depending on which one you prefer, for updates as we move through the day. Try to see how the governor responds to the CDC recommendation and how our local government moves with it. Have a great day. Please try to stay safe. Remember, wash your hands.